Hi, I'm Maitri, pursuing BTech second year in chemical engineering. Welcome to the video on chemical bonding. I would like to discuss some salient features about molecular orbital theory first. So let us see. The first feature is the electrons in a molecule are present in various molecular orbitals as the electrons of atoms are present in various atomic orbitals. So we know that atoms has atomic orbitals, and electrons will be revolving in those orbitals. Similarly, molecules also contain molecular orbitals, and electrons will be revolving in those molecular orbitals. The second feature, the atomic orbitals of comparable energies and proper symmetry combine to form molecular orbitals. For example, you take 2s and 3s molecular orbitals. They don't combine because they are of different energies. If you take 2px and 2py, even they don't combine because they are of different symmetries. So when we are combining two atomic orbitals, we must check that they have same symmetry as well as same comparable energies. The third feature is molecular orbital is polycentric. In an atom, an atomic orbital is influenced by only one nucleus, whereas in a molecule, electrons are influenced by two or more nuclei. Hence, atomic orbital is monocentric, whereas molecular orbital is polycentric. The fourth feature, the number of molecular orbitals formed is equal to the number of combining atomic orbitals. When two atomic orbitals are combined, two molecular orbitals are formed. One is a bonding molecular orbital, while the other will be the anti-bonding molecular orbital. When three are combined, three molecular orbitals will be formed. Hence, always the number of molecular orbitals formed is equal to the number of combining atomic orbitals. The fifth feature is always bonding molecular orbitals have less energy with more stability. Anti-bonding molecular orbitals have more energy with less stability. The sixth feature is electron probability distribution around a group of nuclei in a molecule is given by a molecular orbital. Just as electron probability distribution around a nucleus is given by an atomic orbital, the electron probability distribution around a group of nuclei in a molecule is given by a molecular orbital. And the last feature tells us that electrons are filled into the molecular orbitals by obeying of Bohr's principle, Pauli's exclusion principle, and Hund's rule. Now, let's discuss the conditions for the combination of atomic orbitals. The first condition is the combining atomic orbitals must have same or nearly the same energy. This means that 1s orbitals can only combine with 1s, but not with 2s or 3s, because 2s and 3s are of higher energy than 1s orbital. The second condition is the combining atomic orbitals must have the same symmetry about the molecular axis. As I said in the salient features of molecular orbital theory, 2px and 2py cannot combine even though they have the same energy because they differ in the symmetry, so they can't combine. So for atomic orbitals to combine, they must have same symmetry about the molecular axis. The last condition is the combining atomic orbitals must overlap to the maximum extent. The greater they overlap, the greater will be the electron density between the nuclei of molecular orbital. Energy level diagrams for molecular orbitals. Here in the first diagram, you could see that 1s and 1s has same energy and same symmetry, and so they combined and formed sigma star 1s anti-bonding molecular orbital and sigma 1s bonding molecular orbital. Always remember that antibonding molecular orbitals are represented by a star like sigma star, pi star, whereas bonding molecular orbital will not have that star. They will be simply like sigma, pi. We do not mention star for them. Same is the case with 2pz and 2ph. Now let's discuss some important aspects regarding the molecules. The first one is stability of molecules. If Na is the number of electrons in antibonding molecular orbital and Nb is the number of electrons present in bonding molecular orbital, then the molecule is stable if Nb is greater than Na. The molecule is unstable if Nb is less than Na. Bond order. It is defined as the half the distance between the number of electrons present in the bonding molecular orbital and antibonding molecular orbital. Bond length. It is the average distance between nuclei of two bonded atoms in a molecule. Magnetic nature. If all the molecular orbitals are doubly occupied, the substance is diamagnetic. If one or more molecular orbitals are singly occupied, it is paramagnetic in nature. Let's see the fifth aspect. For molecules which has less than 14 electrons, the increasing order of energies of various molecular orbitals is this one. And if the molecules contain more than 14 electrons, we follow this order. Linear combination of atomic orbitals. The formation of molecular orbitals may be described by the linear combination of atomic orbitals that can take place by addition and by subtraction of wave functions of the atomic orbitals. In the formation of bonding molecular orbital, the two electron waves of bonding atoms reinforce each other and are formed by addition of atomic orbitals or wave functions. In the formation of antibonding molecular orbital, the two electron waves cancel each other and formed by subtraction of atomic orbitals or wave functions. Metallic bond. What is metallic bond? A metallic bond is a type of chemical bond formed between positively charged atoms in which the free electrons are shared among the lattice of cations. For example, iron, cobalt, calcium, magnesium, silver, etc. These all have the capability of forming metallic bonds. Next, condition for metallic bond. A metallic bond occurs only when the attraction between the kernels, that is positive metal ions, and the electron gas exceeds the repulsion between the electrons between the gas. Properties of metals. High conductivity. Metals exhibit this high conductivity property because they have valence electrons. In an electric field, valence electrons move readily and conduct electricity. High thermal conductivity. We know that metal has mobile valence electrons. When we heat one part of metal, the valence electrons in that part gets large amount of kinetic energy, and with this energy, they move and transfer heat to the colder parts of metal. And in this way, the heat is conducted throughout the metal and it exhibits high thermal conductivity. Third property is bright metallic luster. When a beam of light is incident on the surface of metal, the electric field associated with the beam of light makes the electrons in the metals to oscillate to and fro. These oscillations makes the metal to emit electromagnetic radiations, and hence it shows shining appearance. The fourth property is softness, malleability, and ductility. Metals are soft in nature, show malleability and ductility properties. The fifth property is High tensile strength means the ability to resist to the stretching force without breaking. Metals exhibits this property because there exists strong electrostatic force of attraction between the kernels and the cloud of electrons. The last property is elasticity in metals. Elasticity is a property by which a substance can regain its original shape after removal of deforming force. Metal exhibits elasticity because positive kernels in the metal lattice can easily slide over one another. Valence bond theory. It is a theory which describes chemical bonding. Valence bond theory states that overlap of incompletely filled atomic orbitals leads to the formation of a chemical bond between two atoms. Here are some postulates of valence bond theory. Let's see it. The first postulate is the overlapping of two half-filled valence orbitals of two dissimilar atoms affect in the development of covalent bond. The overlapping causes the electron density between two bonded atoms to rise. This gives the property of stability to the atoms. And the second postulate is in case the atomic orbitals own more than one unpaired electron, more than one bond can be made. Paired electrons in the valence shell cannot take part in such a bond development. Third postulate. A covalent bond is directional. Such a bond is also similar to the region of intersecting atomic orbitals. The last postulate tells us that based on the design of overlapping, there are two kinds of covalent bonds, pi bond and a sigma bond. The covalent bond produced by sideways overlapping of atomic orbitals is called pi bond, whereas the bond created by overlapping of atomic orbitals in between the internuclear axis is identified as sigma bond. Free electron theory. This theory was introduced by P. Drude in 1900 and developed by Lorentz in 1909 to explain the electrical conductivity in metals. Here are some assumptions of free electron theory. Let's look at them. First assumption is the valence electrons of metallic atoms are free to move in space between ions and hence called free electron gas. They also participate in electrical conduction. The second assumption is there is no interaction between conduction electrons. The interaction of free electrons with ion is negligible. The last assumption is the free electrons find uniform electric field of positive ions. Band theory. Solids can be classified into three types on the basis of their conductivities. First, conductors. Conductors are the solid with conductivities ranging between 10 power 4 to 10 power 7 ohm inverse meter inverse. Insulators are the solids with very low conductivities ranging between 10 power minus 20 to 10 power minus 10 ohm inverse meter inverse. And semiconductors. These are the solids with conductivities in the intermediate range from 10 power minus 6 to 10 power 4 ohm inverse meter inverse. The atomic orbitals of metal atoms form molecular orbitals which are so close in energy to each other as to form a band. In metals, the band is partially filled or it overlaps with the conduction band. Hence, the electrons can easily flow under an applied electric field. In insulators, the gap between the conduction band and filled valence band is large and there will be no movement of electrons. In semiconductors, the gap between valence band and conduction band is small. Therefore, some electrons may jump to conduction band and show some conductivity. Hume-Rothery rules. These are named after William Hume Rothery. These are a set of basic rules that describes the conditions under which an element could dissolve in metal, forming a solid solution. There are two sets of rules. First is substantial solids. The size difference between solute and solvent atoms must be less than 15%. The second rule is the crystal structure of metals must be same. The electronegativity difference must be small. For interstitial solids, solute atoms should have radius no longer than 15% of solvent atom's radius. The solute and solvent should have same electronegativity. They show wide range of composition. This is the end of the lecture. Thank you for listening.